Today we will talk about the strategy of financing. We have unique opportunity to restore Ukraine and to build back better energy efficiently and in a sustainable way, and make it accessible for all. In order to use funds efficiently, the assistance of European countries, we need the strategy. Today we will discuss such issues, mechanisms of funding to extend the scale of renovation, the gaps, how to reach out to owners of buildings, the ratio of expenses, the role of local communities and local organizations and educational institutions in renovation. Analytician from DiXi Group, Victoria Kovalenko. She is with us online. Your subject is decarbonization of the residential sector, strategic changes, and the role of financing. Dear colleagues, I'm glad to see all of you. Do you see my presentations? There are just a few. Last session, day 2. DiXi Group, we support the government with alignment of the legislation for green recovery of gromadas, energy management and institutional development of gromada, and we inform gromada about the existing financial mechanisms on energy efficiency and energy management. How will we recover in Ukraine? It should be sustainable and carbon-free. So today I will be talking about municipal plans, energy plans. We always highlight for international institutions that municipal energy plan is a strategic plan on the use of energy resources by the community, how to save cost and attract investment for energy efficiency. MAP, it's the document for the analysis of energy consumption and guidelines how to gromadas who have MAP are more competitive, they receive grants.
is the first document for decarbonization goals. It outlines how to reduce the CO2 emissions in the residential houses, in the uh, public utility objects, but um, regard besides all this importance of this document, no energy efficiency event can be implemented without financing. So as we know, the reconstruction of building, the implementation of energy efficiency measures require a lot of finances, and without financial resources, we can do nothing. So DiXi Group uh, conducted survey among communities, and we see that over 90% of the communities have practical experience in implementing energy efficiency measures within the last 5 years, and 90% of the communities confirm that they need this support in financing. When we talk about the main finance sources, the community raise the finances from the local budget, co-financing initiative, and the communities use the grants of the international donors, IBER, GIZ, and they use state subventions that can support specific directions, in particular budgetary objects. If you are interested in this survey, you can find the result of this survey thanks to the QR code or the website of our company. Our conclusion is that for the most communities, the most big problem is that they are not ready for this opportunity. They don't have systemic approaches, specific priorities, and programs and projects for finance and support. So this plan is a crucial point, and it allows to transfer from chaos to systematization. And it shows where where you can attract investments, and it builds trust from international donors. If there is systemic approaches, you can solve any problems. In this case, energy issues. As for financing this project, conditions, preparations of the applications is heavy burden for municipalities. There is the lack of experts, lack of trust and confidence and finances. So to make communities aware, we, DiXi Group, is developing catalog of programs. We know that there are other sources for seeking finances, green platform, for example. I'm sure that this platform was mentioned here at this symposium, and we are developing our catalog for communities so they could easily use this catalog for looking for information, for looking events and measures um, they need. And would like to tell about uh, possibilities, recommendations, how communities can implement the measures in better way, and how to seek finances. First of all, strategic planning. The communities need to prepare a municipal energy plan, to conduct audits, to prioritize objects, to prepare feasibility examination. They need to combine the sources of finances, grants, technical assistance. Of course, it's necessary to get involved the association of house owners. So because they can raise the compensation of 75% of spending. I think that my colleagues will tell more about it. But I think that it's also very important. It's necessary to prepare documents in advance, feasibility task, some technical tasks. It's necessary to form the reserve of finances because there are a lot of projects that need co-financing uh, from 10 or 50 or 20% of the project budget. It's necessary to learn the type of budgets. So it's necessary to examine which source of financing is better, grant or credit. You need to examine the conditions of returning of this financing because it's very important if the community is ready to assume some obligations in regarding this or that project. So you should draw attention to the technical assistance because and of course it's necessary to be strict to the deadlines and to coordinate efforts. Of course, we need energy management services. So we need it, and it's good when you have a strategy, municipal energy plan. Of course, we do not implement any measures if we don't have finances. But of course, if we don't have people who can coordinate these efforts as energy management, no chances for success. So here you can see the catalog that we are developing. So there are main uh, programs and donors who finance energy efficiency. And I would like to emphasize, so to create safe living standards, Ukraine is facing the necessity to reconstruct the damaged buildings, and the main factor is decarbonization and energy efficiency. So the first step is a municipal energy plan which combines vision, data, and finances. So today there are a lot of dozens of programs that provide the communities with possibilities to raise the money and implement energy efficiency measures. And first of all, for the communities which have this municipal energy plan. So the last thing I would like to say, our the energy efficiency community is a community planning and using all financial tools and acting. So there are more and more such communities. They are working on their own energy capacities. They're learning international experience and they're implementing measures, building intermunicipal partnerships, and they are very effective in the for the sake of our energy independence and energy efficiency. So would like to say that the communities need complexity and the energy plan is a good possibility for strategic vision. So that's all. Thank you very much, Victoria, for this substantial presentation. I have a question and then I will give the floor to the whole, if you don't mind. Do you think that the current financial system can provide such full-scale renovation as we expect? I think, unfortunately, no, it's not enough for full-scale renovation, but we need to move in this direction and implement some projects. What do we need for this? First of all, we need to have these municipal energy plants in the community. Okay, any questions to Victoria? Are there any online questions? No. Thank you very much, Victoria. Stay with us. Is Tanya Boiko here? I'm here with you. Nice to see you. Hi, esteemed colleagues. I would like to give the floor to the experienced expert. I would like to give the floor to Tetyana Boiko, Civil Network of OPORA, and she has a very good experience in housing. She's working with different types of houses, and right now we are going to talk about it, how to provide accessible finance for all buildings. Good afternoon. Colleagues, do you see my presentation? Yes, yes. I think that a lot of things were said about it, so I would not focus on this in particular, but I would like to remind you that there are updated regulations about energy efficiency buildings. And these regulations brought new philosophy. What's going on here? This is the implementation of the previous regulations. Why is it important? Because I would like to remind what is the essence of this new philosophy. These are principles of energy efficiency and the net zero emissions buildings, usage of solar energy, and transition to, and the assessment of the CO2 footprint for the building during its whole life cycle. We didn't have it in our legislation. So that's what we are talking about, the vulnerable households, uh, information campaign, uh, and the stimulation of energy efficiency in buildings with several owners and leased buildings. Unfortunately, we don't have it in our phases. I would like to say why it is important and how it affects this situation. Our organization conducted survey of the territorial communities at the beginning of this year, and we asked them about local practice aimed at increasing energy efficiency of buildings. And there were 103 territorial communities from 22 regions of Ukraine. And only 50% of the communities said that they are implementing programs for energy efficiency programs, and 67 communities are planning to do it. And that's a big step forward. What did they say? about the existing tools and programs. They said the problems are the lack of stability, the lack of synergy, and the lack of the common philosophy. So the ideology is different. So we have a broad legal framework, and there are different programs based on this legal framework. Uh, they are implemented, and then the implementation stops suddenly, and one community support one ideology, other community support different ideology. So I would say that the main problem is not the lack of money, though it is true, but the problem is that these programs are not stable, fragmented, just they are not synchronized, and the purposes are different, and the content is different. That's why donors do not don't give finance for these programs. I don't know if somebody is listening to me right now. I mean some of our donors with a civil society organization. We apply for grants, and we uh, provide the justification why these donors should provide us with these grants. And I think that there's the lack of justification, and because the donor investor, in any case, it is an investor, maybe not classic investor, but if our international partners give us money, they expect something instead, and our arguments are weak right now. Well, I mentioned the main aspect at the beginning of my speech, the main aspects of this new philosophy, and you will get my broader presentation with more details of different aspects, and they are all very important. And here I just mentioned some some things some things that are wrong in Ukraine. So I started the with these things that which are wrong. So they have new European EU directives with minimum standards. There's the uh, focus on the gradual renovation of buildings with the burst indicators, the change of philosophy from the motivation uh, and the state support should be for those uh, who need it more. So the state finances go to those who can co-finance, and who can do it, the richest communities. So if you look at the uh, program Green, so the funds were distributed among quite rich people. It's not middle class. It's even it's a association of house owners. Uh, they have some funds, and they can buy solar panels without any support from the state. I do not criticize these programs, but just to understand that the direction is a little bit wrong. wrong. So we have the situation when those who have better lawyers, who were first, those received this financial support from the Energy Efficiency Fund. It's not about this fund. I just don't want to point out, but in fact, this is what we have. And the directives say that those who have the worst situation must be financed. So, Khrushchevki in the center of districts, they have different stories. So rich communities which can stimulate this energy efficiency, and the building
Private houses, I mean cottages and villas, and we were talking about houses in villages. Nobody's talking about them. So the absence of the strategy is a barrier. I would say the absence of analysis of what is happening in reality. If we had a proper analysis and introduced changes on time, they would have been implemented. Evidently, the problem is lack of coordination. Finally, the directive also highlights favoring energy efficiency, access to funding, grants, and subsidies. We don't have a program of stimulating subsidies. It's a big problem in energy efficiency program. We don't have that. How to stimulate energy efficiency, how to stimulate poor people. Awareness raising and sharing information is crucial because these processes are interlinked. How to change a paradigm that socially vulnerable citizens are supported only by benefits and subsidies. Energy efficiency should also be integrated into the programs. In order to finalize, we think that we see four aspects at national level: financial, informational, methodological, change of mentality, philosophy, and attention to energy poorness and vulnerable households. But we can't just change something in programs if we don't change other things. Financial aspect. I think all of us know the existing programs and the options we have. We recommend Decarbonization Fund, which becomes revolving fund at national level and gives accessible cheap credits, 5-7%, not just for multi-apartment buildings, but for individual houses as well. Energy Efficiency Fund gives grants in accordance with qualitative implementation of measures. The more comprehensive the measures are, the higher percentage of the grant is. So if the building has taken energy efficiency measures, the amount of the grant is higher. The next step is to ensure sustainable funding, return of savings, and not just grants. A revolving mechanism shall be the main one, not just eating grants. Specialized dedicated programs supporting vulnerable households and the end of tariff populism. This program should be working at national level for energy efficiency of residential buildings and houses, because now it is only for elite and it is fragmented. We should add informational aspect, senses, narratives, philosophy of the EED and EPBD, promotion, and engage state institutions. We should play the role and pay considerable attention to explanatory work and outreach. Also, the program shall include that the money goes to those who have worse circumstances. How to measure that? I think scoring might be helpful. For example, if we have Khrushchevka with energy efficiency F, and we have a good house which wants to improve something, the priority goes to Hrushchevka with the highest score and the highest need. If we take it from the angle of the building's life cycle, primary expenses on energy efficiency will have another value, and the situation will look like differently. It seems expensive for everybody, but if you will explain your savings in future, it's not just money, but also the quality of life and health, it will look differently then. It is a practical implementation to be done today. And create necessary arguments for donors and people. And our recommendations at local level, synergy of programs with national programs to create added value, to stimulate and encourage citizens and not to pay instead of them, and not to do instead of them without their participation, without any contribution. Also to demonstrate examples of public institutions to make it a demo examples and explain that it might be possible to implement in your building as well. And to create local support programs for vulnerable households. That's it, because our research, that's all I wanted to convey to you today. I suspect questions. Tanya, thank you for interesting and insightful presentation. I kindly ask the room any questions to Tanya. My question is, how do you think will it work for the buildings without homeowners associations? Because at the last session we were talking, if they don't have the homeowners association, they have a managing company. And this company might exercise the same functions as the homeowners association. Nowadays, there are programs. I know that the idea of providing lending for thermomodernization of several buildings in a micro district was discussed by the Decarbonization Fund. I don't know whether this idea has been implemented or not, but these issues are constantly arised at the level of decarbonization and energy efficiency funds. Let's imagine that they publicly announce that energy efficient fund has additional funds. I don't think that many managers will come up with such projects. Maybe the association will come and send several applications. The complexity is that in any case, the meeting of co-owners is mandatory, needs a lot of management, and our managing companies don't do that. They should do that, but the market is not interested. There is no competitiveness. There is no urgent need to do that. Will be they ready to do that? Maybe they will be if they feel they will get an additional bonus. We can try and see how it will happen, but I think it will be slower. We always need several years if we want to implement any initiative. So if managers start collecting signatures of residents, the situation is likely to improve. And we can't come up with anything new here. If people know how to self-organize, well, they will create homeowners association. Please stay with us. And I give the floor to the head of projects and programs, energy efficient cities of Ukraine, Serhii Kosharuk. RePower. It's not just about technical solutions, but creating a new power culture in Gromadas. My name is Serhii Kosharuk. I'm glad to be here with you. And I want to use this opportunity to reach out with the idea of RePower. This simple and unique mechanism works very well. It is Vasily Stepanenko, visionary. He is well known among professionals, and we honor his memory.
But first of all, I would like to say uh, the key element when we talk about the communities are buildings. From the building perspective, energy efficiency perspective, the buildings are commercial, housing, trading. So you can see this image. This is my city. And indeed, the most energy capacity sector is housing sector. We didn't ask any question about heating, which is the most expensive component of our utility bills. But we don't talk about cold. We don't have clear limits. So, but in case we are talking about the same thermal energy, so when we talk about the climate, I would like to say that the buildings need most energy. So for the previous years, when our buildings were built, and most of them avoided the renovation and repair and maintenance, so their condition are worse than they could be. So the oldest housing is there. So Vasil Stepanenko believed that some things happen without any help, and the question is if we are ready for them. So this is this transformation of energy supply for buildings. So it depends on the source of energy we as humankind use in the buildings. So there were wood, coal, oil, gas, and 20% of alternative sources in 2025. And if you look at the green color, you will see the great boost of alternative sources of energy, and we can make a conclude that whatever we want, this is the global tendency, and it's better to recognize it and to take it into consideration in your own planning. And RePower is about it. So here, cold and heat and our feelings. Does anyone think about cold in your buildings when we think about heating? I think that you think about it even more than your parents, because at this light you can see this is the fluctuation of temperatures in the buildings. This is the data of the city of Ternopil, but you can see that blue color is cold and the red color is heat. So when think we have to think how to cool these buildings, and that will continue. We know that if buildings, modernized buildings, will consume less energy 2 times, and then we need additional energy to cool these buildings. So we need to answer the question, how can we do it in technological aspect regarding energy efficiency and less finance? So we are at war right now. We hope for some optimistic focus. We believe in our victory. and we will start to recover our buildings. And one more challenge, look at this graphics, please. So the previous graphics for the previous years was absolutely correct. And one of these graphics is focused for increasing energy tariffs for budgetary buildings, and the second line, this is energy supply for population, price for this energy. And all experts may say that that may happen even earlier, but everyone agrees that the heating tariffs will increase 3.5 times. So what should we do in this situation? What should vulnerable categories of population do? They can't pay right now, and sometimes the utility bills take 70% of their family budget. So what will they do? That's a tremendous challenge for communities and for their authorities, because inhabitants can't realize it, and we need to inform them about it. Authorities need to get ready what they are going to do in this situation, because these people will not go to the presidential office. They will go to the local council and the general European plan RePower. It is a plan that have a final goal, so you can achieve this goal and forget about this plan. This is the specific of this plan among other plans. And this plan was developed to implement the Energy Directive of the EU, but as a tool of fighting against Russia. So this plan takes natural gas, and I welcome the decision of the European Parliament to ban supply of the Russian natural gas. So Europe thinks about it. So they developed plan. They have plan to refuse, to reject natural gas as a tool of Russia's enrichment. So RePower plan is a plan to defeat Russia as soon as possible. So the main components are, first of all, usage solar panel mandatory. The refusal from the natural gas boilers. And ZEP is a zero net standard. It's very expensive. To achieve this goal, you should do a lot in this building. And ZEP is easier. But you should to reject gas boilers, and you need to replace them for the biofuel boilers or for pumps, which are quite effective. So the idea is to propose to the communities to use alternative energy sources and it should be invested in this scheme of energy supply of these communities. So the energy supply schemes were old. They reflected the history for the previous years, and the USA, and very often the communities placed new gas boilers, and Europe says let's refuse it, but we are installing new gas boilers for our utilities, and this is very difficult because we can't realize that we should think in another way. So these plans may contain not so cosmic projects. There are a lot of projects, alternative source projects, and there are have some economic reasons, and it's very difficult to find finance for long-term projects. And for this project, it's much easier to find finance. For example, to install air pumps in Odessa for 10 megawatts of energy. So the cost of this project, 9 million euro, and you can take this money back within 6 years. So another project in Ternopil, energy pumps, heating pumps, water, and 13 million euros. And the payback period 6 years. So that's good for business. And when we talk about the installation of a solar power plant, it's very good for business. Payback period just 5-6 years. So here you can see the payback of this project that you can see on your slide is 5-6 years. And this project, 2 years payback period. So business can do it. They just need credits on good conditions. There must be other strategies, community strategies. So when we talk about housing, so heating pumps can work 5-6 years, and even 5-6 years, good thing. We have a lot of private houses, and if we have a plan for this category of houses, and many owners of these houses may take a part in these plans, and they could have savings. And of course, we have a big problem with the multi-story houses, and we could stimulate the competition between these different types of houses, buildings, so that they manage these houses strategically using a wide range of tools without increasing bills, utility tariff within 10 years, for example. And the savings would bring back investments. So in this case, the managing companies may have additional resources, not from inhabitants, but maybe from local authorities. And by the way, where take money for the buildings? The Europeans are ready to help us. UNDP with our ministry signed agreement for 16 million euros in Ukraine. We have a bigger standard for storing energy, for example, to create energy islands as a key element of a decentralized energy system. And this is just for schools, kindergartens, and buildings, but that they will entail business that will maintain these energy islands, and the business may use credits for these projects. So this ask is of this municipal energy plans is to envisage the measures to implement such technologies, and we think that it's not so difficult. But when we started the implementation, I have just come back from the Eastern. I can see that people believe that authorities should repair their roof. So we need to conduct information campaign. So here you can see the grant programs where you can take credits and loans, how ESCO operates. The ESCO variant, Tanya said that there are some buildings where co-owners cooperate very good. They don't want to organize association of house owners. I would like to ask this question, by the way. But here, without local authorities, there is nothing to do here. So in order to build this trust between co-owners of the buildings, there must be a guarantee of this trust. If they take some risks, so in this case, we may succeed. Examples of RePower programs for, first of all, the municipal plans for the city of Slavutic. This city can refuse from the fossil fuel. They have very good boilers, and there are a lot of private houses, and in this location they can use thermal farms, and the city calculated its potential where they can install panels, solar panels, and if business is ready to purchase this energy. So municipal energy plan of Ternopil, due to the lack of time, I will not go into details, but I would like to mention the idea of our nation, where to take money. So communities must think about their energy strategies. So I hope that there must be a proposal at the national level. If calculate how much money do we need to replace the gas boilers with the gas farms, so it's $10 billion. If we calculate, and if we sell this gas, that we save this gas, we can back this $50 billion plus small profit. And if we reduce CO2 emissions, we could have even more. So please, this is the example how we can reduce our energy dependence. When we save gas, thanks to the savings, we can pay back these investments. And I hope that even at the national level, we will be heard. Thank you very much for your presentation, quite interesting. And I think that that we were moving into the right direction. So we need to expand possibilities of energy management to see in the municipal plans such programs. So now we are coming back to the idea that e-power, this is the change of the ideology of the community, and this is our goal. And to achieve this goal, everything must work together. So we, for example, receive money. We can't just spend this money without financial strategy. We need to have vision, not just to cover our needs. We need to use them very efficiently.
And now our next topic is financial instruments. Housing Modernization and Development Fund, Kyiv City, Managing Director Oleksandr Denis and his deputy Kateryna Chervynska are with us. Thank you very much for invitation and for introduction, for organizing this panel discussion. We appreciate listening to experts and visionaries. We will tell you about Kyiv experience. Kyiv City since 2015 supports co-funding of the measures in the housing stock. I think many of you are aware of the program 7030. It was created for homeowners associations. In 2016, the program of capital repair was introduced, which allowed repair works for the buildings without homeowners associations created. And the homeowners associations, which have been newly created, received additional assistance. So there is a program of compensation for heating loans, TEPLO. But the problem, which is a barrier to energy efficiency, is passiveness of residents and lack of long-term funding for privileged lending. And our fund is an example of cooperation between deputies of the city council and the community of the homeowners associations. And in 2023, we registered our legal entity, Modernization and Development Fund. Our basic task is to lend on a privileged basis. But advisory and consultancy is essential, explaining people the opportunities the state provides. Our task is modernize the housing, to support co-owners, and we want to improve energy efficiency of housing in Kyiv. Key pluses of our mechanisms are fastness. If the house submitted an application in April, in July, we visit this house. They have already replaced windows. Second plus is universal nature. Sometimes some programs are not synchronized. Our product enables the people to define what they want to improve. It is time when the topic is not just energy efficiency. One house took a credit for ventilation of the shelter to make it more comfortable. Our mechanism allows us to synchronize it with Kyiv programs and national programs. We are trying to respond quickly at the changes of the Energy Efficiency Fund of Ukraine when they increased the amount of the grant to 10 million hryvnias. We asked people, deputies, to allow homeowners associations to be recipients of larger amounts if they are moving towards energy efficiency. We are not consuming, we are using the resources of the city because we give it to our gromadas. So we can say that we use resources of gromada efficiently, and it is a revolving fund, and the procedure is pretty simple. In our case, the homeowners associations decide what they want to do. They select the supplier, the contractor, and then they submit application to the committee, and they trust this instrument because they are free and they receive financial resources. My question is, Kyiv revolving fund, do you exchange experience with other grandmothers? Do you communicate? And what would you recommend other grandmothers? What are you proud of? We are trying to share experience. We communicated with Mykolaiv, All Ukrainian Forum. Katya had a speech. Mykolaiv was interested, and maybe they will use our experience and will follow the same model in Mykolaiv city. We are proud that this project takes place. There were some fears and concern whether it would be implemented, but we are happy we managed, and we are proud of our work, and we are trying to implement. Any questions from room? Online? So everybody returns money on time, yes? So there is no risk. I will return to what Sasha said, 70-30 and co-financing of capital repairs. These main programs have been working for 10 and 9 years respectively. Tanya mentioned the opportunity to finance Hrushivka. First of all, there is scoring, and according to the scoring, people who submit the application the first, if they have high efficiency and if they are the first, they receive the highest score because there is a big competition. Last year, people deputies financed almost all requests, but the building should also participate. 30% of expenses on energy efficiency. For example, they did something for 300,000 hryvnias, and then they asked the city to give 700,000 hryvnias to complete the project. It is a pretty efficient instrument. Many homeowners associations in Ukraine use this instrument, and many buildings have attained high level of energy efficiency within 5-6 years participating in this program. But the complicity is that you need to spend your 30% share. There are numerous challenges now during the war, winter time, problems with electricity, problems with water if it is a high building. And I disagree with Tanya when we are talking about DIM program, that Hrushivkas don't receive anything. Green DIM program closed to problems, sustainability, energy independence, and energy efficiency. 25-story building has 3 or 5 elevators. They spend much more electricity than Hrushivka. without pumps, and the energy consumption is low. I am the deputy director of the fund. I am also the head of the homeowners association. Our building was founded in 1985, and a big community of ЖБК and OSBB in Kyiv. We know a lot of practical cases. There is a project, you need your share, and the biggest part is paid by the city. The first question, where to get money for this first share. That's why we created our Modernization and Development Fund at the request of the homeowners associations. What do we propose? If it is a credit or lending, if it is a lending up to 1 million hryvnias, up to 1 year. We also have credit up to 5 million hryvnias, up to 7 years, and the interest rate is 5%. And it's not a lot given the inflation. And comparing with national programs, our fund is cooperating with multi-apartment buildings who have a manager. It is complicated. Within 1 year and a half, nobody addressed us. Unfortunately, maybe they don't cooperate with co-owners, or people don't trust, or are not aware, or it is due to the war. Very often, homeowners association also face this issue. There is a wartime. If something attacks our building tomorrow, we will have to pay these funds. I am sure when the war is over, we will have more resources and more opportunities. We have already lent 22 million hryvnias in Kyiv. We spent many meetings. Please pay attention to this slide, because we wanted to describe it, how it might work for homeowners association. And it is really important. If the credit is 0.5 million hryvnias and the interest rate is 5%, and they ask the energy efficiency fund for compensation, and they will be compensated within the first 9 months. Then they will submit to the program 70-30 in Kyiv. Total value of 2 projects will be 5 million. And it is about 14% of contributions for co-owners it really works.
And only in this way we will achieve some energy efficiency results. Thank you, Kateryna. I would like to ask a questions, but I can't do it right now. And I will come back to these questions to all of you later regarding your ideas, how to implement them, the power system, and that will be our topic. I also would like to ask you and our guest to think. We started our discussion with the decarbonization, and I would like to ask the questions, but not to receive answer, but just to think if you could implement a specific idea this year which could contribute significantly to remodeling of buildings. So what was that idea? What would be that idea? What would be that step? And that is your idea. I would like to to know. I thank you very much to everyone, to our speakers, that you joined our event, that you shared your experience, your knowledge. Thank you very much for coming here, that you sacrificed your weekend. Thank you very much. Please. Thank you very much to our colleagues from Bank Watch. And I'm very glad that we have organized this event, this session number 4, relating to the investment. So please go down. We have another event, 15 minutes, and then we will take a picture. So online speakers, if you would like to see the end of this event, so please switch to the hall number 1.